morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this yet another special conversation under our ET Unwired series called Cutting Chai Stories, where we recognize industry leaders and emphasize on their journey around their careers. And I'm your host, Dimple Bajwa. Cutting Chai series is a special platform that does not only identify leaders, but also brings out their traits, routines, and thought processes that makes these leaders stand out in the industry across different sectors and verticals. During a conversation, we will try to get a glimpse of the person, both personal and professional. And today we have with us a very special guest, a senior professional and leader who has worked in challenging lead positions and has a vast experience in leading digital transformation programs in large manufacturing groups. Without further ado, let me now welcome Mr. Sumit Duttagupta, Group CIO and Head Information Systems at Haldia Petrochemicals Limited and MCPI. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Duttagupta.
Thank you.
So you have held several leadership positions with organizations such as Assam Roofings, Siratis India, Reliance Industries Limited, Aegis Limited, and are now working at Haldia Petrochemicals as the Group CIO and Head Information Systems. You have an experience of over 3 decades and hold several certifications and degrees. You have risen leaps and bounds when we talk of your career. Therefore, I'll start by asking you to take us through your professional journey. How has this journey been, and how have things changed when you talk about professionalism or work culture in all these years?
Well, I think if you see the initial times when we started, our journey and career in IT, it was more of a rudimentary coding, database management, and bit of doing churning out some in-house programs. ERP was not that popular because it was always run our in-house programs made primarily on Oracle and all. Later, the ERP things have come and shaped the whole IT industry in terms of how things have evolved. So, as an professionally, I think things have changed very fast, both in the working and in the IT front also. And the way we were pursuing the IT infrastructure and the application management has also changed over the years. Now things are more agile, fast, and in terms of churning out the application, the business needs are quite specific. With understanding across the business, I would say the stakeholders are also very much matured. They also understand exactly what is needed, from the IT or the digital roadmap which they are going to lay. So as we have moved forward, IT was seen as a cost center. But I think as we have moved forward, it has now been seen as more of a profit center. There are a lot of business models which is coming up in recent years. So I think IT has shaped as a whole from a cost center sort of an outlook to a profit center outlook, contributing, for the enterprises, both top line and the bottom line, and seeing that how the EBITDA can be impacted in a positive way. And that's how I see the changing of the IT landscape and the IT environment going on in future also.
Right. I can't agree more to the fact that things have become more agile now. So next, I would want you to share with us instances from your school and college days. If there's any instance or any memory that has, stayed on with you all these years. Also, how were you as a student? Were you somebody who always had his arms raised for all the questions that the teacher would ask?
Okay, so I don't think so. I could remember anything much specific about my school day. Initial schooling was in Delhi, in Naval Public School, and subsequently in Andrews High in Kolkata. So it was more of a I would say, a generic nature. I was never in the top line class, as far as my rankings are concerned. But I had a clear-cut aim, as usual, youngsters would like to be independent, in their way forward, with an urge to how fast you can grow, and come out of the school days, go into the college days. But I think as a whole, yes, those were very enthusiastic days and a lot of fun and an urge to grow independently. And when the college life came, the hostel life was its own mix of baggages, Yes, you were independent, but then you were also under pressure for study, projects, running around, a lot of politics here and there. The student politics also got into it. And then finally, shaping up out of the college was the work. But I think the base which has been there is during the college days, I would suppose, and that has put us through this grilling, I would say, the work environment which we immediately started off after the college days.
Right. And so, would you give any advice to the students or aspirants who are looking to follow a similar career trajectory as yours?
No, I think every every situation will be different. There will be different aspirations from people. Some would like to have engineering, then go straight to management, and then be in consultancy and all. But I was very clear at the very beginning. I would like to be in the user company and contribute in a way I feel I would like to love to do for myself. So in a case of the whole journey, I was very keen that I should be able to contribute as a leader to the company wherever I work, and to be in that particular thing, to make sure that you are what you are saying. Priorities have to be very clear. One is whatever career switch, you would like to take. In fact, I'm a mechanical engineer converting myself to IT at the later period during the 90s .com boom, So you should be adaptable to a change of situation as and when the opportunity knocks in, And that should not deter you that since I am from a particular background, I will remain in that background. I think that will give you a bit of an hindrance, to move further, So you should be open up to ideas, open up to opportunities, and take your journey forward according to that.
Right, I agree. You talked about contributions as a leader and being clear about your achievements. So you're a great leader in your domain, and there might be people who would be looking up to you when it comes to leadership skills and qualities. What is that one leadership quality, or maybe we can talk about qualities in you that you would like your team or your subordinates to inherit from you?
Well, I think leadership, from my experience, is all about, a decisive, call you have to make, and ensure that your stakeholders, all your stakeholders you're working with are in sync with your objective. That's very important. But, it's quite simple to say that because it means that you need to do a lot of groundwork and, a bit of an exhibit a confidence and also motivate the team and the stakeholders to walk the path. That's very important because ultimately as a leader, you are selling them a dream, and then the dream has to be executed, whereby, all the stakeholders have a collective, say and a satisfaction that they have achieved this as a team. So I think that's more important. And for me, it's like keeping things simple, but you should be focused in whatever approach you take. So keep it simple and be focused. I think that is what I think will churn out a good leader and motivate others to achieve the same.
Right, right. Very well said, sir. So COVID-19 has leveraged digitalization across verticals at a rapid pace. These changes have a propelling effect on the future, as most of these advanced technologies, will witness a long haul. With consumers moving towards digital channels, it has become essential for companies to respond with a digital transformation at the earliest. You are presently leading a digital transformation program for your organization. With a vision to make the business decisions more proactive to predictive and ideally to prescriptive in nature. How has this transformation journey been for you? How have enterprises leveraged digital for business performance?
Okay. See, uh, we, our vision, as you rightly said, from the present organization point of view in HPL and NCP, right? Like IT, is a trusted business partner, who is basically agile, innovative, and with a prime objective of shifting business decisions from reactive to proactive, to predictive, and ideally to automated, perspective. So it's a tall call, but then the basic premise, which we are working today, it's to having a real-time visibility across the enterprise with information, because the information is the key, for a good and agile business to do a decision making fast and to response to a particular situation. So our aim is basically, since we run manufacturing plants, which basically churn out products and which are basically commodity in nature. So sensor to boardroom, driving this business platform and executing it within the organization is key. So what we have embarked is, the 4W and H, what, so we have analyzed what is the current state of our business. And then when, whenever someone is deviating from a particular plan, can we able to track and, do some early events? Where, is basically some of the productions and operational challenges is something there where we can take on those operation challenges and do something. Why is basically prompting, because we have got out systems where we are trying to understand the root cause analysis and troubleshooting. And then we are also giving a diagnostic, if that particular thing can impact a particular problem, and whether we can have an early event which can basically prevent that particular problem from occurring. So today we are running in two phases. The first phase is basically the inherent gaps which are there in the manual processes. We are trying to see that where the automation is needed, and we are automating those processes, right from level 0 to level 1 in the manufacturing space. And the second way, which was just started, is to implement the digitalization tools to enhance some of those critical business processes, which across the value chains will give us that benefit. So right. In a whole, if you say digitalization as a whole is helping organization, and with the present COVID disruptions, the whole the brick and mortar framework is getting challenged. Mm-hmm. The framework has basically given a right way how a business models can be defined. So right from sales to production to CRM, a digital framework for Industry 4.0 initiatives, GPS-based tracking. So all these things, I think, has pushed the collaboration among stakeholders to a different level. So I think that is what we are ensuring some seamless operations with improved reliability and operational efficiency.
All right. That's it. All right. So one last question, sir. I'm going to shift gears here. You're a strong leader. Has a well-balanced approach towards life. So I would like to know here, what does a typical day in Mr. Duttagupta's life look like, and what do you do on weekends? Oh, okay. Any fun activity that you would like to share with us?
I don't have any such fun activity, only some sort of an regular regime of morning yoga, meditation, and brisk walking, to breathe in the fresh vibes. That's the start of the day, and that is the regular as of now. And with the work schedules, which is quite challenging and dynamic nowadays, I have a habit of having heavy breakfast and then keeping it light the whole day, so the energy levels are high. And returning home, ensuring that the phones are more or less down by 10 p.m. so that I have some more time, for my music and reading, which I like the most,
Wow.
And the weekends are basically cooking new dishes, which gives me a self-fulfillment and a sense of, I would say, satisfaction. And every 3 months with the family, a vacation is definitely, I think, pre-booked, So that's how you need to recharge yourself from this hectic activity.
Right. I think indulging in family activities, indulging with family is also very important in these times. And that was my last question to you, sir. Thank you for answering all my questions. That was indeed a very interesting conversation with you. And with that, we come to an end of our cutting chai discussion.